building inspection code, okay, at 0. And then on that December the 27th of 2010 day is when they had a meeting. There was 2 or 3 things done at the very end of his term. And you adopted a ordinance, but there never was an enforcement provision put in it, okay? So now if you vote to abolish it, that's one thing. That means that if you vote to abolish what happened on December 27th of 2010, then you're going to revert back to the way things were before that happened, which meant that for commercial activity, that the state enforced it, okay? But residential, there is no enforcement.
Same with well.
Right. But the ordinance that you've got here doesn't say that. What it says is we're adopting it and we're putting a building inspector in, which means that you will have building inspections for residential services. I want you all to be clear on that. You're not going back to the way things were on December 26th of 2010. Okay?
You mean if we,
The way this is typed up and written is you're adopting the entire manual. It's that thick. It's in the county. How thick is it, Chris? About 6 or 7 inches thick. That what? You didn't. That copy wasn't put in your office. Alan gave me a copy. It's probably that thick. You're adopting it verbatim and saying we're going to enforce that here in Lawrence County.
yeah, but if we turn this down, we go back to where we were. We don't have that.
Well, you need to do more than turn it down. You need to say, you need to make a motion to change what happened on that December 27th meeting. You know, you need to abolish, but this is different than just saying I abolish it. This is saying we adopt it and we appoint Alan as the code enforcement officer. And then there's also these inspection fees are adopted here on page 2, which would be the cost that people would have to pay for their inspections. I guess the way it was envisioned is that all the inspection fees would be, you know, passed through the county to him as a salary here in Lawrence
Yeah,
County.
but if we turn this down, we go back to where we were. We don't have that.
Well, you need to do more than turn it down. You need to say, you need to make my motion to change what happened on that, December 27th meeting. You know, you need to abolish, but this is different than just saying I abolish it. This is saying we adopt it and we appoint Alan as the code enforcement officer. And then there's also these inspection fees are adopted here on page 2, which would be the cost that people would have to pay for their inspections. I guess the way it was envisioned is that all the inspection fees would be, you know, passed through the county to him as a salary. I mean, if you vote to have a first reading of this, that you're saying that Lawrence County is going to have building code and Alan's going to be the inspector and this is what our fees are going to be. If you don't want that, then you need to just say that you vote to abolish the December 27th vote and go back to the way they were.
27, 29.
I don't know. I remember it was at the very end there, right before you took off.
We need to abolish it.
So we just make a motion to abolish the decision on December 29th or whatever it is.
If that's what you all want to do.
Now, Mike, one more, tell us if we abolish this one more time. I know you want to do
Okay.
it. What we're going back to.
Okay, if you abolish it, then Lawrence County does not have any residential inspection. So if you was to build a house on a lot, you wouldn't have to have a building permit. You'd still have to have a electrical inspection. You still have to have a plumbing inspection. But you wouldn't have to come to the county and get a permit and pay. You know, if you were going to build, let's say, out Berg subdivision, what's the typical house out there? 1,600 square foot? 2,000, make it easy. Make 2,000 square foot, 2,000 times 13 cents is what? Help me out. $360. You wouldn't have to come to the county and say, here's my $360, so I'll be legal. But now if you were going to churches, garages, you know, Walmarts, all those places would still be inspected, and they would be inspected by Ron Hampton, who is paid out of Franklin.
But Ron said, make sure I did clarify that, same with well on, anything above that does still have to have him to inspect it. Like
Yeah.
commercial or anything.
And yeah, that's what I'm saying, he would still be doing commercial inspection. But, you know, if you voted this in, that's what we would have to do. You'd have to, you're basically having a local inspector that would be paid fees for residential service, residential inspection.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to abolish the December 2010.
I'll second that.
That work, Mike, okay?
If that's what y'all want.
Motion made by John,
Advocate.
second by Bill, all in favor?
You know, Walmarts, all those places would still be inspected, and they would be inspected by Ron Hampton, who is paid out of Franklin.
But Ron said, make sure I did clarify that, same with well on, anything above that does still have to have him to inspect it. Like
Yeah.
commercial or anything.
And yeah, that's what I'm saying, he would still be doing commercial inspection. But, you know, if you voted this in, that's what we would have to do. You'd have to, you're basically having a local inspector that would be paid fees for residential service, residential inspection.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to abolish the December 2010.
I'll second that.
That work, Mike, okay?
If that's what y'all want.
Motion made by John,
Advocate.
second by Bill, all in favor?
I say some little things, we just get it going.
For the record, what is the rate now, so we can have it in minutes?
The regular rate for residential 61 years of age and under is $15 per month. 62 and over is $11 per month.
Thank you. And you're asking for it to go in from 16 to 1750?
Well, we were asking for at least maybe $3 or $2.50 minute bill because it hasn't raised in 5 years. And with gas going over $4 a gallon, I said, I got my tax bills ready the other day, and I spent out almost $32,000 just this past 2011, just in gas, $36,000 in labor. I get claimed $7,000 out of $130,000. I made $11,000 from the post office in 5 months, from January through May, by myself. Companies only gonna get claimed $7 out of $130,000. And I know people make comments on Facebook, they make comments on Levi's Laser. If it's mismanagement, that would be me. We're 3 out of 6, and we're all 3 having the same problem, so I can see mismanagement if it was just me by myself. But that would be, Thompson's had the same problem, and Hall has the same problem, and Dennis was supposed to be here, I don't know where he's at.
What does the city charge for the sewer deal?
You can't tell.
City just took a $2 raise. They went from 12 to 14 on non-residents. But that's just people like out in High Bar, out on 32, and the point section.
Well, on the thing,
I think so.
the more on the thing, the media.
Okay, the Lasers are here today with one of Lawrence County's major leaders, and Chris Jobe, the county court clerk. And Chris, what are your thoughts on the county being split up into 2 legislative districts and then having the Senate district reach all the way to Pike County?
It's definitely, it'll be a change to get used to. We've always had the county as a whole as a legislative and senator, so we'll have to try to inform the public who the representative for their precinct is. It'll just take some time. It'll also be some changes on our ballot whenever we proof our ballot to make sure we have the correct representative in the right precinct. So it'll be some changes that take some time to get used to.
Okay, say that again.
What part?
What did you say at the meeting a while ago about Spring Hill and Depot?
Spring Hill and Depot, we had to take voters from Depot and put into Spring Hill. As long as they follow the precinct lines, whenever they've done these legislative changes, we'll be okay. But we have some concern that that may affect the precincts on that, and the County Board of Elections will have to look into to see if it causes any conflict with us redrawing the precinct boundaries.
Well, as a Republican, do you foresee anybody coming up to run against either one of these new legislatures or the senator for the Senate's position in our area?
I don't at this certain time. I know that Rocky's been unopposed in several elections, so I don't foresee anyone at this present time. I don't know about the senator's race. I know that they've had opposition over the years, so there possibly could be someone who runs for maybe that for certain. It's hard to say.
I know him, he's a good fella, and they both agreed that now instead of having one, we'll have two representatives now, so we'll have a tag team there. And Rocky assured me that him and Mr. Collins works good together, and that Lawrence County will be better off than what it was. But we'll miss Rocky because he's done such a great job, and he done just a great job and still does a great job.
Yeah, he's still got 8 precincts in Lawrence County. What about the Senate district that goes all the way from Lawrence County all the way to Pike?
Well, we lost Walter Beverly on that, and I talked to the new gentleman, and he's already wanting to come down. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a little public forum, and introduce him to the public and let people ask him questions and stuff, and just have like a public gathering, because they want to introduce themselves to everybody and get to know everybody.
So you don't see any drop in our amount of federal funds or state funds that we get because of this?
That I can't say for sure, Mark. I don't know. We hope not.